I told you not to do no sin no more. I guess they acting like they hear me. 90 days I let a fiend for. If this what you want, you best go beast mode. And she said, baby, I know you legit. Baby, I know you legit. She said, man, like you don't even exist. And I said, UPK made me like this. Bada bing, I popped the least suspected. I start all my crowns, ring and necklace. Do what the men above had taught me. Hey, you say I play too hot, no coffee. I had to change my life like this, yeah. I'm taking life for what it is, yeah. Quit acting blind, you need some lenses. Abiding by the damn scriptures, yeah. I told you not to do no sin no more. I guess they acting like they hear me. 90 days I let a fiend for. If this what you want, you best go beast mode. And she said, baby, I know you legit. Baby, I know you legit. She said, man, like you don't even exist. And I said, UPK made me like this. I've been up, I've been up, I've been up, I've been up. I've been up, I've been up, I've been up, I've been up. Quit the fuss, show me love, show me love. I need love. Don't wanna leave me, yeah. I'm mixing up my damn problems. I'm mixing out all of that violence. If you with me, we on that fly shit. To all these worldly bastards round us, I say, I told you not to do no sin no more. I guess they acting like they hear me. 90 days I let a fiend for. If this what you want, you best go beast mode. And she said, baby, I know you legit. Baby, I know you legit. She said, man, like you don't even exist. And I said, UPK made me like this.
Up and running, yeah. Shalom, Lord in Christ. We are the ISUPK, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under the command of General Yahana. And we teach that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the true Hebrew Israelites of the Bible. Okay, that is the King James Version, 1611. Okay, first and foremost, we'll start off with Yehovah Hashem Yahushai Brakadam to the brothers. Wa Yehovah Shema Iladan Ba Hashem Yahushai to the sisters. Okay, we'll go through some of the announcements, the introductional announcements, what's going on in the school, and then we'll go straight into tonight's class. This is the Monday night law class. Okay, so Monday night we have the law class. Tuesday night we have the brotherhood class. Wednesday we have the history class. Thursday we have the scripture breakdown class. And Friday we have the Lashawan Kodash class, which is the Lord's holy tongue. Saturday morning we have the Sabbath service. And Friday evening, after the Lashawan Kodash class, we have the live radio show on the ends. Okay, so there's 3 live classes in the school at 394 Lodge Road, Hockley, Birmingham, on a Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So the Monday night law class is live in the school, 7 till 9 p.m. Wednesday night, the history class is live in the school, 7 till 9 p.m. And Thursday night, the scripture breakdown class, live in the school, 7 till 9 p.m. The sisters in the school on a Thursday at the scripture breakdown class cook. So if you fit the category of one of the Most High God's chosen people, our beloved so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, you're welcome to come down to 394 Lodge Road, Hockley, Birmingham. We get busy on the Thursday night scripture breakdown class, the Tuesday night brotherhood class, and the Friday Lashawan Kodash are live streamed from Manchester. Okay, all the classes are streamed live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Saturday morning Sabbath service starts at 10 a.m. till 11. Then from 12 till 5, we hit the concrete for street camp. 1 week we're live in central London, Piccadilly, I believe, and then the following week we're live in central Birmingham at the bottom of the Bullring ramp. Okay, that's Birmingham City Centre, and they're alternative weeks. So twice a month in Birmingham, twice a month in London. Friday night on the ends is after the Lashawan Kodash class, and that's from 9 to 11 approximately. That's with Officer Karathia and Captain Karathia Salakia and Officer Dungabar. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to go straight into tonight's class, and the topic is: who said the 1st of January is the new year? Who said the 1st of January is the new year? Well, as we know, the Western world, as we know as the oppressor, gave us a calendar called the Gregorian calendar. We've got to first understand, for tutorial purposes, that the Gregorian calendar is not the original calendar. Okay, we have a calendar before the Gregorian calendar called the Julian. Is it the Julian or the Julius? The Julian calendar is the original worldly calendar before the Gregorian calendar. And I'm not saying that we use the Julian calendar. I'm saying the ancient Romans used it, the ancient Macedonians used it, so on and so forth. It was widely, it was the calendar that was used widely before the introduction of the Gregorian calendar. We'll get into dates in a short while. Okay, but we'll have a look at the Gregorian calendar in a short while. But first, let's have a look at why they brought this Gregorian calendar in, how the new year was changed, because the same people that gave us the Gregorian calendar decided that the 1st of January would be the new year. When according to the Hebrew calendar, January is the 10th month of the year. But according to the Gregorian calendar and the people that set it up, who would be the then Romans, in the 18th century, sorry, in the 15th century, the 16th century, they gave us the Gregorian calendar, and they said that the 1st of January would be the new first month of the year, when we know from the Hebrew calendar that January is the 10th month of the year, meaning December is the 9th month of the year. Okay, how do we know this? Because we have our records, the Holy Bible, King James Version. Is that something I do?
It's even in the name, like December usually means 10, like decade, decimal. October means 8, octuple, sept. But why is September the 9th? When it's sept means 7, like even in the name, is that way with the
Kind. And let's not forget, yeah. Let's use the Bible as the foundation of all living things. So does nature coincide with what the Bible says? The Bible says if December is the 9th month of the year and January is the 10th month of the year, you don't need a degree or a diploma to work out the numeracy, the numbers. If you count back and December being the 9th month of the year, that the first month of the year would be approximately March, April. Now let's look at nature and see if it coincides with the Bible. April is the first season of the year, which is called spring. This is the month where everything sprouts and then eventually blossoms. Flowers, trees, leaves, vegetation, everything sprouts from its seed, which means you get the head. It pops out from beneath the ground, beneath the earth in spring. Everything that's been sleeping and resting for the winter, the natural habitat, the animals, certain plants, all come to life and wake up in the first season, which would coincide with the Bible as the beginning of the new year, which is the end of March, the beginning of April. And who don't understand that, then I think you should check your seasons. Okay, spring is the first season of the year. You got something I want?
The Bible dictionary says the same thing. What you're saying?
The
month of Abib, the first month of the year. After the exile, the name was changed to Nisan. It fell about the time of March and early April.
There you go. And that's self-explanatory. So we know not only from our records, the Holy Bible, King James Version, not only from nature, not only from common knowledge, that Abib or April is the first month of the year. Okay, spring is the beginning of the new year.
That's right.
How the hell? Listen, the Most High God, the God of Israel, doesn't make mistakes. We make mistakes. The Most High God's never made a mistake in his being, ever. So how would he make the 1st of January, the middle of winter, where everything's in hibernation, nothing's growing, nothing's sprouting, nothing's blossoming? It doesn't make sense, and it doesn't coincide. And if you ask yourself a question that doesn't make sense, then you should do a little research and find out what is the truth and how do you get to that truth. And if there's no logic in what you've been taught, 9 times out of 10, it will not be the truth. Okay? So we're going to go into the Bible and see where this 1st of January comes from. We're going to have a look at the law and what the law says in the Bible about the 1st of January and these pagan celebrations. The new year is not recorded in the Bible. So where the hell does it come from? Okay? Where the hell does the new year come from? Shalom, Lord in Christ. Let's take a seat, Officer Mozart. Stop making a commotion. Okay, so let's have a look. Let's have a look. Let's have a look what's going on Wikipedia, and then we'll go straight into some scriptures. Shalom, Officer, Lord in Christ.
Shalom, Officer Lord.
Yobashim Yoshavah. Tuab. Salakia. Okay, so let's have a look at where the 1st of January, the fake New Year, actually comes from. Okay. Okay, so all over the world, the New Year was celebrated around the end of March to the beginning of April, which is in the Passover period. In Europe, around 1752, the Julian calendar was replaced with the Gregorian calendar. The Gregorian calendar marks the change of the new year from March to January. Between 1582 and 1572, two separate calendars were used in Europe and European colonies. Okay, but two different starts of the year were practiced in England. Okay, when other European countries started using the Gregorian calendar, the 1st of January became unlawfully known as the beginning of the new year. So here we see the change. Who was in control? Who was the colonizers from Europe in 1582?
Scottish and English.
Okay, it was Europeans. Okay, so it's from the seed of Esau where this change comes from. Okay, and Esau has many names.
That's right.
The Edomites, Idumea. Okay, the landmass, the capital city. Okay, what other names has Esau got? The oppressor. What else?
Snake.
Okay, all the so-called white man.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So this is where the Julian calendar was changed, and it comes from Rome. Okay, it comes from Rome and the Vatican. Okay,
that's right.
And this was between 1582 and 1752. When other European countries started using the Gregorian calendar, the 1st of January became unlawfully known as the beginning of the new year, when the legal beginning of the new year was March the 25th. So the last week in March was the new beginning of the year, which coincides with the Bible and the month of Abib. Okay, so the second week we go into April, the month of Abib in the Hebrew. And it coincides with what nature says. Everything comes alive in April and in spring, which is the first season of the year. Okay, so the first month of the year must line up with the first season of the year, or none of this makes sense. And this is what the so-called oppressor has done. He's turned everything upside down and on its head to confuse the hell out of the world and out of this wicked kingdom that we live in today, that we are still oppressed in today. Okay, it's interesting to observe that these changes to the new year were made in the time period of the transatlantic slave trade. Okay, so in a time when we was being taught we were Christian and not Hebrew, we was taught Portuguese, English, Spanish, and all kinds of nonsensical languages that were not of ours, and we forgot how to speak Hebrew. The same time they taught us their pagan feast days and took away from us in this period the Passover, unleavened bread, the Day of Atonement, first fruits, the Feast of Tabernacles, the Feast of the Memorial of Blowing Trumpets, the Holy Sabbath, which we celebrated every Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. These things we was forced to give up and forget as we inherited a nonsensical belief system that was not in our records. and that was the New Year, Christmas, Easter, Valentine's Day, so on and so forth. Birthdays, Mother's Day, Father's Day, the list goes on. Okay, so it's very interesting to observe that these changes to the New Year were made in the time period of the transatlantic slave trade, when a lot of the world's historical events were being changed and retaught. Also, it is interesting to observe that one of the fundamental things that didn't change was the tax year, as it is commonly known that the end of the tax year is March and the beginning of the new tax year is April. So Esau, that changed the calendar from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar, turned round and sold himself out by not changing the tax year. They still make the tax year from April to April, or from April to March, being a 12-month period, a 12-month span. April through to the first day of April through to the last day of March the following year. So if January the 1st is the beginning of the new year, why do they have their annual tax year from April the 1st to March the 30th? Where's the sense in that? You got something for us, young man?
Why didn't they change it to January? Why did they keep it?
Because they know that the new year is April, the last week in March, the beginning of April. That's why they've kept the tax year. Because in ancient times, under the Julian calendar, the Romans and the ancient Greeks would have been taxing people from the 1st of April. That would have been the beginning of the new tax year. They would have been going into land masses that they'd colonized and taking taxes off of people at the beginning of the new year, which was April. The last week in March, the beginning of April. Okay, they've come back to Europe, and in 1582, they've changed everything. They've turned the world upside down and on its head, because they have taken complete control. After Americanus Vespucci and Christopher Columbus allegedly found a new transatlantic world, the Americas.
That's right.
Which is the Caribbean and Central North and South America. Okay, where there was already indigenous people living, as we know. Okay, let's read on. Right, where was I? Blah, blah, blah. Also, it is interesting to observe that one of the fundamental things that didn't change was the tax year, as it is commonly known. Okay. Let's then bear in mind that under the Julian calendar, December was the 10th month of the year and January was the 11th month. Slakia, I said 9th. February would have been a 12th. Okay, so at the end of March being the 1st. There was a 13th month, but we won't go into that because that's not what we're teaching tonight. We're just teaching, and we're going to dislodge the ideology that the 1st of January is the beginning of the new year. When here in the home of the truth and ISUPK under the command of General Yana, we know the truth. We know that the 1st of January is fabricated. It's a lie. It's been pushed on our people as a lie, and it is a pagan celebration. Nothing to do with our people, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, and it's not in our records, the Holy Bible. Can you pass me a?
That's right.
Throw me a. I've got an apocrypha here. Throw me a Bible, if you can. You got one there. Just hold it up to the camera. Okay, so these are, when we talk about our records, we're talking about this. The Holy Bible, the King James Version, 1611. So what? Okay. Get me Exodus 12 and 1, Baba Kashar. Young man Jermaine, you get me Exodus 12 and 1. Mozart, get me Amos 5 and 21, and just hold it. We're going to go on reading. Let's read a little bit more about this Gregorian calendar, where it comes from, and how it came about. It came about through a celebration of an idol Does anybody know what the idol's name was?
Janus.
Janus. Yeah. Yeah, well done. You're right. You're right, young man. Janus. Did you know that, Mozart? Okay, so how Janus was the doorkeeper to heaven. Okay, how did Janus become the doorkeeper to heaven? He was revered by the Romans as a god. Okay, he was an idol to us. Okay, he was an idol, period. But the Romans had Janus down as a god. Okay, so how did Janus become the doorkeeper of heaven? Let's read about this character. Janus is a deity found in the religion and myth of ancient Rome. The Romans believed that Janus was the god of doors, beginnings and endings, and transitions in accordance to the role he played. Janus is depicted as a two-faced god. Type in Janus and let's get a photo up of this guy, the two-faced god. If you don't know how to do it, Mozart, just shout Officer Karathia, Captain Karathia, Salakia. Let's read on while we wait for. We're gonna show you a depiction of this idol called Janus. Okay, who is Janus? Let's read on. Did you call him? Is Officer?
He's gone with the car.
Is Officer Shamgar out there?
He's gone with the car.
They've gone away, yeah? Okay, so who is Janus? Janus is an ancient god whose worship dates all the way back to the time of Romulus and even the founding of Rome. Romulus was one of the Roman leaders, okay? Unlike many of the deities worshipped by the Romans, Janus does not have a Greek counterpart or equivalent. According to one myth, Janus was the first king of Latium and is credited with bringing civil and social order to mankind. Okay, that's what Janus's job was in his time. So he was a man that the Romans turned into a god. I don't want it on your phone, I want it on the screen. Oh.
Let's check this.
Okay. All right. In doing so, he brought humanity from barbarity to civilization, if you say so. And this transition was from one state of being to another, is represented by Janus' two faces. So this is a god of two faces. Why did he have two faces?
Janus.
So he could see from all sides, back and front. Janus. Tawada. Let's read on while you're getting this depiction of Janus. According to Roman mythology, Janus was the husband of Camasine, a nymph. Okay, and the two had a son. So this Casamine, who was the wife of Janus, she was a nymphomaniac. Does everybody know what a nymphomaniac is?
Yeah, somebody who sex man.
She's addicted to sex. So there's a good chance, it doesn't say here that she was an adulteress, but there's a good chance if she was addicted to sex, that she was probably sleeping with more than one man, being a heathen and not complying or following the laws of the Israelites. Okay, remember in Europe in these times, we was not in power. You know, by 1582, King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella had already taken back Europe and exiled the tribes of Israel that were in Europe, scattered in Europe. They was being exiled back to North Africa, or to North Africa, not back to North Africa, to North Africa. Okay. So let's read on. Did you get that up? So here's a depiction of Janus, and this is the idol, the Roman idol, and this is where the 1st of January, the belief system, comes from. This is the god you're worshipping when you go out New Year's Eve and get drunk. and do that 10-second countdown. 10, 9, 8, and sing, what is it? Old what? Old Lang. I don't even know the word. Old Lang's down, or old lang slide, or I don't even know what they sing, you know, but they've got a song that they sing bang on midnight, a 10-second countdown, 10 seconds to midnight. Then they all hold hands like this and they sing. They sing it. Okay, so this is the depiction of the idol god Janus. This is what you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are worshipping when you go out New Year's Eve to the club, get drunk, and celebrate New Year's Eve. It's a pagan celebration. We've not even been told. You can take that off now. Order. We've not even been told in our records to celebrate the new year. It's just another day. Read Romans 14:5. No day should be esteemed to any other day. Every day is worthy of worshipping the Most High God, the one true God of Israel.
That's
Yahweh.
right.
Bahashim Yahweh Shai. Okay, in the name of his only begotten Son, the anointed one, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. And the only special days that should be to you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, are the feast days that we've been given in our records. And we're going to go over them shortly. Okay, so that's who Janus is. He's a heinous-looking figure, a two-headed idol. Okay, he's probably not even depicted from the real Janus. Okay, who was married to this woman, Camasine, who was a nymphomaniac, and they had two sons, Tiberinus, Salakia, and the two of them had a son, Tiberinus. It was from Tiberinus that the river Tiber gained its name. Prior to that, the river was known as Al-Bula. Following Tiberinus' death, this is the son, following his death in the river or on its banks, however, its name was changed. So when he died on the river or the river banks, they changed the name from Tiberinus, from what they'd named the river after their son. Okay, following Tiberinus' death in the river, it was changed. In another myth about Janus, Saturn, after being exiled by Jupiter from the heavens, these are another two idols, Saturn and Jupiter, what they name their so-called planets after, these idol gods, okay, from the heavens, arrives in, let me start that again. So, in another myth, after Janus, Saturn, after being exiled by Jupiter from the heavens, arrives in Janiculum, the city founded by Janus, on a ship. The god was received warmly by Janus, and in return for his hospitality, bestowed on the king the power to see both in the future and into the past. Okay, so we've got three idols here. One's been exiled out of heaven. Well, if Saturn is in the kingdom of heaven with the one true God, Yahweh, who sits on his throne, why have we got no records of that? That's not in the Bible. These are clear and evidential idols. And every time you our people, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians celebrate New Year's, this is who we're remembering. We're not remembering our God. We're stirring his wrath and angering him. We are not remembering our God when we remember these idols. And that's what we're doing. And the sad thing about this is, Mozart, is our people, they don't even know the history of New Year's Eve. They don't know none of this. And this is why we're teaching you this tonight.
That's
because
right.
you need a little insight to what you're actually doing. And if you say you love your people and you love God, then you will start to learn this Bible and get yourself down to the ISUPK under the command of General Yohana, your nearest school, wherever you are in this world. Because while you're celebrating these pagan feast days, these make-believe pagan feast days, and worshiping these idol gods, you're getting further and further away from the one true God, the one true God of the Bible. Okay, that's what you're doing. You're not doing anything else. You're not helping yourself, and you're certainly not helping the generations of your bloodline. You brothers and the sisters, same goes for you. Okay, so let's have a look at why was Janus such an important god to the Romans? Does anybody know? Why was he so important to the Romans, this idol, Janus? Well, let's read on and find out. The Romans regarded Janus as an important god, which is evident in one of his titles, Divom Deus, which means the god's god. Before a sacrifice could be made to any other deities, Janus would first be invoked and a libation be poured for him. The rationale for this is that since Janus was the doorkeeper to heaven, without Janus, you couldn't go to heaven. He was the route to heaven. That's why they was pouring drinks for him and doing these abominations that it speaks of right here. Okay, Janus was the doorkeeper to the heavens. It was through him that all the other gods and goddesses may be reached. Okay, so to these Romans, gods were plural. To these Greeks, gods were plural. They had many, and we know them all as idols because there's no records of Zeus. What did Zeus ever do? What did Aphrodite ever do? What did Ares ever do? Where's the records of Thor, Onin, these Scandinavian gods, the Roman gods? Where are the records of Janus, Jupiter, Saturn? Where are there real records that we can read about of these gods? They are fabrications and they never existed. Let's read on. It was through him that all of the gods and goddesses may be reached. So if you wanted to speak to Zeus, you had to go through Janus, in a nutshell. How bizarre is this? Let's read on. You got a question?
Janus was like the gatekeeper for the gods.
Khan.
Yeah.
Yeah, Janus was the gatekeeper for the gods. So if you wanted to get to heaven or be in contact with Ares, the war god, Jupiter, Saturn, sun god, you would have to go through Janus. And actually, I'm not sure Saturn was the sun god. I'll check on that. But there was a sun god. You got something up?
Yes. I read that. There is a channel called Self-Denial on YouTube. And on this channel called Self-Denial, it says that all these gods, they're basically fallen angels in disguise. So all the angels that fell from heaven, they want to be worshipped. So they give them these names now. Jupiter, Janus, Oil, and Thor, Aphrodite. They give them all of these. They're meant to be fallen angels. Okay,
so who couldn't hear the brother in class? He said that Janus was there's a what on YouTube?
A channel called Self-Denial.
There's a channel on YouTube called Self-Denial where they've taught. I'm presuming they're teaching. They're teaching that all these fallen idols or fallen gods, or these gods, Aphrodite, Ares, Jupiter, Saturn, Zeus, they're all fallen angels. But where's the records of these? You can't just open a stream on YouTube and say, yeah, these idol gods are fallen angels, or make massive statements like this without any proof, any evidence, any historical evidence, any biblical evidence. It's just nonsensical, and it's not real. Okay, it's no more real than the 1st of January being the beginning of the new year. Okay, right. The association between Janus and doorway is seen. The association between Janus and doorways is seen in the fact that many Janai were built in Rome. Okay, these ceremonial gates. Does everybody know what a Janai is? Janai is a gateway to something else, maybe another realm. Okay, these ceremonial gateways were freestanding structures used for symbolically auspicious entrances or exists. These gateways had a particular connection to Roman armies departing for war, and there were both lucky and unlucky ways to march through a Janus. Okay, so it's quite deep. It's quite deep how far they've took this lie. I mean, they've took an idol and they've depicted him with 2 heads and made him look heinous and built a whole story around this idol that hundreds of years later will be read and appear feasible to these heathen. And guess who was colonized by these heathens? And guess who was in captivity, put in captivity by these heathens? Israel, we were. So if they believed to such a degree and pushed it on us, what do you think our people started doing? Accepting it and believing in it. Let's read on. What is the most famous shrine dedicated to Janus? Does anybody know? We're going to find out. The most famous Janus in Rome was the Janus Geminus, twin Janus, probably where the 2 faces come from, the 2 heads, which was a shrine to Janus located on the north side of the Forum. This was a bronze structure with double doors on each end, with the cult statue in between them. According to tradition, the doors of the shrine would be left open during times of war and conversely closed during times of peace. According to the writer Plutarch, it was the legendary king Numa, the successor of Romulus, who initiated this tradition, and during this reign, the doors had always been closed, signifying that his rule had been a peaceful one. So Numa was the new leader of Rome that took over from Romulus, the leader before him. So Numa became the new leader, and this is what he did. Okay. On the other hand, the poet Virgil states that closing, and Virgil's just a writer, okay? Okay, so Virgil was recording a lot of this stuff, okay? On the other hand, the poet Virgil states that the closing of the doors were meant to keep war in. So they closed these gates so that whatever conflict was behind these doors could not leak out. Okay, not leak out into their cities, into the world.
So
okay.
That preventing that the people who live on the outside of the world wouldn't
Can't.
find out and join in.
Can't. Let's read on. The closing of the doors of Janus Geminus was a powerful symbol and was exploited by the Roman emperors. So this is all myth that was picked up by the Romans and solidified, fortified, and pushed. And guess who it got pushed on through the transatlantic slave trade? Once again, us. Okay? And even though we might not have believed in this system, ultimately, or believing in the history or the story behind New Year's, ultimately, we've ended up indulging and celebrating it. But this is what New Year's is about and where it comes from. It's not just a date on the calendar where the Europeans said, okay, let's have a big, massive celebration a week after Christmas. We're going to make a bag of money and we're going to we're going to celebrate the new year and change the new year from April to January. In depth, when you study and do the research, there's a lot more technicalities involved to this. This was deep for the Romans. This was a deep embedded thing for them. And they thought, can you imagine? They're probably seeing the most spiritual people in the world, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, and they're so jealous and so envious of you. They want their own spiritual thing. So they fabricate a whole pagan system and a feast day that there's absolutely no records of before 1582. You got something on?
Is it can it be depicted from the history of Christ not paying him any mind when he came? Like not accepting him as part of the 12 tribes? So they get jealous and decide, so, okay, let's make our own God.
I hear what you're saying, but haven't the heathen nations always envied us? Yes. Throughout the time, yes, thousands of years. It's not just in Christ's era. These heathens have always been jealous of our people. The Egyptians were jealous of us. The Persians envied us. The Babylonians envied us. The Macedonians envied us. The Africans envied us. The Canaanites envied us. They all envied us. Why did they envy us?
Because of the blessing that we have. Because
of the blessings that we had and the inheritance and our covenant.
But didn't it start? Didn't it start from a singular stream, like from Cain with Abel? Then
that's deep rooted. That goes back. That goes way back to the beginning. That goes way back to the Garden of Eden. But we're talking about the nations as collectively looking at us, and you can see it when you read Psalms 83. There's a clear tumult. That tumult stems. Tumult means conspiracy. That tumult stems from envy, from jealousy. Okay, that we are God's chosen people, and no other nation was. Okay, did you have something, young man?
No, I was just going to say, was it the birthright that Esau took from Jacob? Jacob took from Esau? Was it that birthright?
He never took it. Jacob never took or stole Esau's birthright. Esau didn't want his birthright. Esau sold his birthright because he didn't have the spirit of the Most High God in him. He was wicked as hell, and he didn't give a damn about his birthright. He didn't want it. He didn't care for it. He didn't care about his father. He didn't care about the Most High God. He didn't care for his family. He didn't care about nothing. He was profane and he was vain, and he loved himself. Okay, that's Esau in a nutshell. Let's finish up here. Let's hit a few precepts. Okay, the closing doors of the Janus Geminus was a powerful symbol and was exploited by the Roman emperors. Augustus, for instance, boasted that the doors were shut 3 times during his reign. The doors of the shrine were also shut during the reigns of Nero in 66 AD. These are all Roman emperors, Roman leaders. Following the victory over Parthians and Vespasians in 75 AD. This was around the time when we was fleeing out of Jerusalem. Following the conquest of Jerusalem, coins were minted to commemorate the occasion. Okay, we won't bother getting the coins up. We're going to go into some precepts now. So there's your history on New Year's. And New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, it's a pagan celebration, and that's where it comes from. An idol called Janus. Nothing to do with the 12 tribes of Israel. So-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians have got absolutely no business celebrating New Year's Eve. No more business than you've got celebrating Christmas, Easter, Valentine's Day, or any of the other pagan feast days that we indulge in and take part in, that are taking us further and further away from the Most High God. Let's hit these precepts and find out what the law says about this. Okay, let's start off with who's got Exodus 12 and 1?
Concept.
Can I get a Bible? Oh, please. The water. Okay, Exodus 12 and 1. Read that when you're ready.
Exodus chapter 12, verse 1. And the Lord spoke unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying.
Okay, so here the Most High God is speaking to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt. So we're still in captivity. We're not free from Egypt yet. Read on.
This month shall be unto you the beginning of months.
Okay, so this month shall be the beginning of months. We're about to break out of our captivity. Okay, so weeks after we broke out of our captivity, we was given a celebration by the Most High God. What was that celebration called? Anybody in class?
Passover.
Jermaine.
Passover.
The Passover. So the Passover is in this time span here, in this period. Do we all follow this? Okay, so read verse 2, okay, and let's see what coincides with the Passover and what period we're talking about.
Exodus chapter 12, verse 2. This month shall be unto you the beginning of months.
Read that again.
This month shall be unto you the beginning of months.
No, we're going to move it to the middle of winter, January.
This month shall be unto you the beginning of months.
Okay, so when we're about to leave Egypt, which would have been coincide with the Passover period, this is going to be the beginning of months. What does that mean?
First month of
The
the year.
first month of the year. What time of the year do we celebrate the Passover? When we the exodus of Egypt, when we came out of Egypt. A bit, but what was the period? It was the Passover. It was the time of Passover. When we was led out of the Egyptian captivity, we was given the Passover in that period of time. Okay, so we can see that the Passover is 2 weeks into the first month of Abib. We've got it in our records. We can go to it, but let's read on. Let's read on.
It shall be the first month of the year to you.
Okay, so we're going to read about it here, right here. Read that again from verse 2.
Exodus chapter 12, verse 2. This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Verse 3. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, in the 10th day of this month they shall take of them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house.
Okay, so on the 10th day of Abib, which is the first month of the year, according to Exodus chapter 12, 2 and 3, okay, the first month of the year, Abib, on the 10th day, you'll take a lamb out and start prepping it. Why are we prepping a lamb on the 10th day? Because on the evening, on the sundown of the 14th day, we're going to start celebrating the Passover. It's going to be a beginning of the Passover, which is an 8-day celebration. And on the first day, we ate lamb with sweet and bitter herbs. Okay, then we'd have 7 days of unleavened bread. And on the last day, the 8th day, would be the closing ceremony of the Passover, of unleavened bread, Salakia. Okay, so the Passover and unleavened bread followed one another back to back. The first day was the Passover, then we'd have 7 days of unleavened bread, where we would eat unleavened bread. Read on.
Verse 4. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. every man according to his eating shall make your account for the lamb.
Okay, so we'd cook enough lamb for the household. But if there was some left over, what would we do?
Give it to your neighbor.
We're going to read about it. You'd give it to your neighbor. Read verse 6, Baba Kashar.
Verse 6. And ye shall keep it.
No, that's Slakia. Have you read verse 5?
No.
Read verse 5.
Exodus chapter 12, verse 5. Your lamb shall be without blemish. And male
Okay, so your lamb would have to be perfect. Your lamb, and this is why they've taken lambs. They don't eat sheep like we still eat mutton. But you notice Esau don't eat mutton. They don't eat mutton because they probably haven't got the stomach for it, the teeth for it, the jaw structure. We can eat tough meat. It's not an unknown commodity that mutton you cook longer than lamb. Lamb is softer. You know, it's like a newborn baby. Their skin's softer than an adult's. Their bones are not as dense as an adult. They've got no wear and tear. Their joints are more flexible. As you turn 20, 30, 40, your joints get stiffer. Your bone density changes. Your skin gets rougher and tougher. This is the same with holy meats. The lamb was considered a better meat than the grown sheep, than the mutton. The mutton would have blemishes, would have wear and tear on it. And that's why we did this. Esau's come along, stole that idea like he steals everything. In Esau's butchers, you can only get lamb. You won't find mutton in there. You'll only find mutton in our butchers. You won't find mutton in Esau's butchers because they don't sell mutton, because they don't eat mutton. Read on.
Verse 5. And your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year.
A male from the first year. Read.
Ye shall take it out from the sheep or of the goats.
Okay, so this is definitive proof that this month is the beginning of months, and that's Abib, the start of the new year. Read on.
Verse 6. And ye shall keep it up until the 14th day of
We
the
should do
same
what?
month. Keep it up until the 14th day of the same month.
Okay, so the 14th day we'd keep the lamb because at sundown we're going to bless it and eat it. Read on.
And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. Verse 7.
Okay, so we're going to kill it, bless it, and eat it. Read.
Verse 7. And they shall take of the blood and strike it on the two side posts of the upper door.
Why did we put blood on the posts and the upper door?
That was when Christ was going to punish Egypt. The mark over the door.
No, not Christ.
When the Most High was going to punish Egypt.
So the angel of death passed over.
So the angel of death passed over all the Hebrew homes and houses and didn't interfere with our people. It was a sign for the angel of death who he was going to hit and strike. Just like a Scud missile. You know, that was our pass. That was our Swerve the Israelites card, you know, marking our doors and posts with the blood of the sacrificial lamb. Or not the sacrificial lamb as in Christ, but the lamb that we killed for the Passover, for the meal. Okay, read on.
And verse 7. And they shall take of the blood and strike it on the two side posts of the upper door, posts of the houses, wherein they shall eat. Verse 8. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. Eat not of it raw or nor sodden at all with water, but roast with fire.
Okay, so how we prepped the meat is we would just roast it. You wouldn't cook it down in a stew. you'd season it with bitter herbs and sweet herbs, and you would not eat it any other way but how the Most High God has told us to, because this is the law. The Passover is a feast day, that is the law, and you can find it in our records. But guess what? New Year's is not. New Year's is not a law, and New Year's is not in our records. Read on.
His head with his legs and with the pertinence thereof. Verse 10. And
No, that's it. We just drop it at 9. Okay, so you get the gist. This was to prove that Abib, that's on the Hebrew calendar, April is the first month of the year. So where the hell do we get this Janus from? Where the hell do we get the 1st of January from? We've done the history on the 1st of January. You know exactly where it comes from. And it was the Romans that did this. So you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, this year, have a think before you go out New Year's Eve with your heathen friends and celebrate this, okay? Because the ones amongst us, and we know we're talking about the ones in our brothers and our sisters in the mosque, in the Christian church, in Rastafarianism, all other kinds of isms that you're in, and denominations and religions. You're the ones that are going to be celebrating New Year's Eve this year. Just know exactly what you're celebrating when you're doing this, because unknowingly you're spitting in the Most High's face. And if you're trying to do that, no one's spitting in the Most High's face. If you're trying to do that, know what your comeuppance is going to be, and it's not going to be it's not going to be favorable for you. It's not. We teaching here. We're pushing this on you, the truth, to save you, because we love you. We don't want to harm our people. But the ones of you that are celebrating New Year's Eve, you're on a suicidal trip. You are on a suicidal trip. Okay? You are going to face death and destruction. You are going to face the wrath of the Most High God. This is not for you. Get the hell away from it before it's too late. Okay? Get the hell away from it. How difficult is this? Like we tell you every week, we have these records for a reason. All right, Mozart, did you get me Amos?
Rock on.
Let me jump to it. Amos 5 and
21.
5 and 21. Okay, read that, Bob. Sure.
Rock on. The book of Amos 5 verse 21. I have hate. I despise your feast days.
Well, do what?
I despise your feast days.
So the Most High God hates. He despises your feast days. Our feast days that we've jumped on with the heathen. New Year's Eve, Christmas, all the other feast days. The Most High God, read it again.
Rock on. Amos 5 verse 21. I hate. I despise your feast days, and I will not smell your solemn assembly.
So tell me, why should we celebrate New Year's Eve when the Most High God tells us not to? He will not smell our solemn assemblies. He's telling us he don't want no part of it. Then why should we be a part of it? Why the hell should we celebrate New Year's Eve when the Most High God despises New Year's Eve? Why should we celebrate or indulge in New Year's Day feasts when the Most High God can't stand New Year's Day? It's a damn lie, and it's not in our records. He never gave it us. So who gave us New Year's Eve? Like we said, like we read about, the Romans. The Romans gave us New Year's Eve. It's nothing to do with us. You got something, Mozart? Okay, read on. What verse you at?
Verse 21, finish. We're going to verse 22.
Read.
Verse 22. Though ye offer me burnt offering.
Though ye offer me burnt offerings, read.
And your meat offering.
And your meat offering.
I will not accept them.
The Most High God will turn round and backhand you in your face. Just when you think your life is building up and getting better, he will take your feet from underneath you. He's not going to accept your nonsense. He's not going to accept your offerings. He's not going to accept your sorrows, your pity in yourself. That's why we've got to get out of this nonsense now. That's why we've got to get out of this paganism and come back to the Most High God. Come back to his laws, statutes, and commandments. Come back to his real feast days. Not New Year's Eve. There's nothing to do with the Most High God. Read.
And your meat offering, I will not accept them. Neither will I regard the peace offering of your fat beast.
There is no peace with our God. There is no peace with the Most High God, Yahweh, if you are in disobedience. If you are not keeping your vow with him, the vow that our forefathers took with the Most High God and passed on through the generations. We have a vow with God. While you're celebrating New Year's Eve, you're breaking that vow every damn year, time and time again. What verse was that, Mozart?
That's verse 22.
Read 23 for me.
Verse 23. Take thou away from me the noise of thy songs.
Do what?
Take thou away from me the noise of thy songs, for I will not hear the melody of thy viol.
And this applies to all your fake feast days. Not just New Year's Eve. You've got numerous feast days that are not in our records. But New Year's Eve is what we're talking about tonight, because we're a week. How far are we away from New Year's Eve? It's not that far. Next Wednesday. So we're about what? We're about 9 days away from the heathens' New Year's Eve. And one thing you can bet your bottom dollar on is that the brothers and the sisters in the ISUPK under the command of General Yahanna will not be celebrating Janus. We will not be celebrating the 31st of December nor the 1st of January, which is the middle of winter. It's got nothing to do with the first year, the first day, or the first weeks of the year of the new year. Absolutely nothing to do with it. So you've got to ask yourself, what the hell, while you're getting drunk and celebrating New Year's, the new year, you've got to ask yourself, what the hell are you really doing? If you're watching your class and you're getting tuned into this, so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, ask yourself a question when you're drunk at midnight, New Year's Eve, and doing the countdown, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Ask yourself, what the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing? You're, apart from pissing off the Most High God, just kindling his wrath. Someone get me Deuteronomy 32 and 16, Baba Kashar. Deuteronomy 32 and 16. And the other reader, get me First Maccabees 3 and 48 in the Apocrypha. Come on. Deuteronomy 32 and 16, Baba Kashar. When you've got it, you can read. Hold on, yeah, Mozart, get me First Maccabees 3 and 48. Baba Kashar.
Deuteronomy 32 verse 16. They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods.
They did what?
Provoked him to jealousy with strange gods.
Okay, so they provoked him with jealousy. They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods. Okay, meaning New Year's Eve, Janus, all these idols that we've inherited and adore and love without really knowing what we're doing. We've provided to you than your father. You're introducing him to your friends, your teachers, your peers as your father. If your father found out, what would he do?
He'd be very gutted and he might want to
He'd be
punish
upset. He'd be upset and he would want to punish you. He'd bring down a judgment on you. And that's what our God has done to us. Read that from the top again, Baba Kishore.
Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 16. They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods. With abomination provoked they him to anger. Verse 17. They sacrificed unto devils, not to God.
They sacrifice to devils. Okay? A lot of these heathen have thrown babies on fires as a sacrifice. Do you think that's to our God? That's not to our God. That's to idols. That's to gods that don't even exist. Like Janus. New Year's. Read on.
To gods whom they knew not. To new gods that came newly up, whom your fathers feared not. Verse 18. Of the rock that begat thee.
And who is the rock?
Oh,
Yahweh. No, not Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh.
Yahweh. So the Most High God is the rock that Moses is talking about here in Deuteronomy 32 and 18. Read on.
Of the rock that begat thee, thou art unmindful.
Okay, so you're not thinking about what you're doing. You're unmindful. You're not thinking of the real Most High God, the one that brought you out of 2 captivities, the one that led you away from that church, that mosque, that Rastafarianism, and pointed the way for you to the ISUPK. Because if you're watching this stream, if you're in the audience now listening to this, the Most High God's got you to listen to this for a reason. You either embrace that spirit or you don't. The spirit of the Most High God. Okay, you haven't got forever. So-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Your time's going to run out soon. Read.
And has forgotten God that formed thee. Verse 19. And when the Lord saw it, he abhorred them.
He abhorred them. What does abhorred mean?
despise him.
Huh?
Despise or hate him.
I'll take that. I'll take that. Despise. Read on.
Because of the provoking of his sons.
And who were his sons?
His children.
12 tribes.
The 12 tribes of Israel. And read on.
And of his daughters.
And who were his daughters?
The princesses of Israel.
The daughters of Zion, the sisters, our sisters. So the Most High despises these heathens. He despises their idols, and he despises everything about them. Read on.
Verse 20. And he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be. For they are a very forward generation, children in whom there is no faith. Verse 21.
No. Stop. Let's break down verse 20. We forced our father to turn his back on us. The Most High sees us as a disobedient generation. That's what we are, a disobedient generation. Do we really want to go out like this, Israel? So-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives, indigenous people. Do we really want to go out like this? Do we really want to go out in that Christian church? Do we really want to go out in that mosque? When in that last day, you're going to have two men lying down. One disappears and one stays. You're going to have two men working in the field, according to our records. One's going to get zoomed up and one's going to be left right there. Who do you think is going up? Who do you think is going to disappear out of that bed, out of that working field? Can anybody tell me?
Righteous one.
The priests and prophets of the ISUPK, of the Most High God in the ISUPK under the command of General Yana. We're going to be the ones all around the world, all around the globe, all around this wicked kingdom that are at work with a brother, with a sister, and we're going to be disappeared, and our family members, our friends, our loved ones are going to be left behind in that church, that mosque, on our estates, in our communities, because they couldn't listen to this and they didn't want to hear this and they wanted to get drunk on New Year's Eve. Read on.
Verse 21. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities, and I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation.
Let's break that down. Verse 21. So our punishment is to live under the reign and authority of Esau. And we're jealous when we look at Esau because we see a man that is not as good as you, so-called, as us, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and native Indians. This is what we see. So we made the Most High God jealous, and what did he turn around and do? Made us jealous. He put us in a state of affairs where we would have red eye every day. We would have envy for what the oppressor has before our very eyes, knowing that we're the most creative, dangerous, gifted, and talented people on this earth, and we're scraping the barrel, bottom of the pile, while Esau runs the whole damn place. Isn't that enough to make you jealous? Isn't that enough to say that should be us, not them?
Definitely.
Read that again, Baba Kasha.
But they're running it bankrupt anyway.
And now they are, but they've had this kingdom for 500 years now, and they're useless. They've done nothing with it, but destroyed the ozone layer, tore down the rainforest, made certain species of animal extinct, and monopolized the entire planet into a financial state and a trade of where only one people gain, and that very people that gain are now in debt and ruining themselves. Okay, and that is the work of the Most High God, and that is how our God Yahweh works. He doesn't play. Okay, so you're out there feeling sorry for yourself, but the oppressor's about to get his. But you're not going to enjoy watching the oppressor get his if you're in that church and that mosque, because you're trying your damn hardest to save the oppressor. You're celebrating Janus. You're celebrating New Year's Eve and joining in with the oppressor. So which way do you think you're going? Read on.
Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 21. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities, and I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. Verse 22.
No, hold on. Verse 21. So our punishment is to live under the reign and authority of Esau, the oppressor, and we are jealous of his status, finances, and authority. That's what we're jealous of. The Most High God just runs it back on us. We've ran it on him. He's ran it back on us. He's ran the same thing back on us. Yeah, that's clearly that's clear to see. You understand? These people are not as good or as capable as us, but they rule over us and reign over us. You got something? Do you know what I mean?
I was going to say, was that like when Father says an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth? So because we made him jealous, he made us jealous.
No, that's a different context.
Yes, sir.
A good observation, though. Verse 22, read.
Verse 22.
Baba Kasha.
For a fire is kindled in my anger, and shall burn unto the lowest hell.
We did this. Read that again, Baba Kasha.
For a fire is kindled in my anger.
Okay, the Most High God don't get angry for nothing. We did this. We did this. We can't kindle his wrath. Read.
And shall burn unto the lowest hell, and shall consume the earth with her increase.
Okay, so we kindled his anger, the Most High God, that is, and and he gave us hell on earth. Does anybody really believe that hell is a place you can go and visit? This is hell, what we're living in today, because of New Year's Eve. That's a portion of why we're in hell. We can't stop celebrating these pagan feast days. This is a reason. This is one of the reasons why we're in all the impoverished areas around the world. Why our brothers and sisters are strung out and homeless on drugs. This is why we are drunk and disorderly. This is why we have an evil eye for one another. This is why our youth in Manchester, London, Birmingham stab and shoot each other over a postcode. Read on.
And shall burn unto the lowest hell, and shall consume the earth with her increase, and set it on the foundations of the mountains.
And nothing's going to change until we change. We're going to be in this state of affairs. We're going to be in hell on earth until we stop celebrating New Year's Eve and change our wicked ways.
That's right.
Read on.
Verse 23. I will wreak mischiefs upon them. I will spend mine arrows.
Read again. Start that again.
I will heap mischiefs upon them.
I will heap mischiefs upon them. What are their mischiefs? He heaps upon them. The first that springs to mind is a prison sentence.
Yep.
Why are our people living in lands that don't belong to us, in other people's lands, but we're the general population of their prison systems and court systems and judicial systems? Why is there more of us in their prison systems and going through their judicial systems than the people of that land? Why do you think this is happening to us? Because we forgot our oath. We can't keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. And we start right here today by denouncing this pagan feast day, Salakia, this pagan feast day called New Year's, which is not in our records and it's not for us. Read on.
And I will heap mischiefs upon them, and will spend mine arrows upon them. Verse 24.
Hold on, read verse 23 again, Baba Kasha.
I will heap mischiefs upon them. I will spend mine arrows upon them.
I will spend my arrows upon them. Does anybody understand what's going on here? What the Most High God is talking about? He's telling Moses.
The different kind of problems that we face.
No, these are punishments. If I want to punish you, I'll shoot you with an arrow. I'll spare you. I'll shoot you. I'll do something to you. And that's that's an individual's understanding of punishment, dishing out his punishment. We're talking about the Most High God here. Whosoever doesn't understand this particular verse, go read the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. Okay, from verse 16 to 68. You will understand what Moses is talking about here when he's got this from the Most High God. You will understand, okay? He will, read it again, Baba Kashar.
I will spend mine arrows upon them.
I will spend my arrows upon them. Go and read the curses in the 28th chapter. You will know what the Most High God's arrows are that he spent upon us. And we become the laughing stock of all nations.
That's right.
Read on.
Verse 24. They shall be burnt with hunger and devoured with burning heat.
These are curses, and these are reiterated in the 28th chapter of the book of Deuteronomy. Read on.
And with bitter destruction, I will also send the teeth of beasts upon them, with the poison of serpents of the dust.
Okay, and this is happening to us. This is occurring because of pagan feast days like New Year's. Not just as inheriting and loving their idols. There's 613 laws. Okay, and until we can get it together, we're always going to bring the arrows of the Most High God, spending them on us. Do we all understand this?
That's right.
Hell on earth. Hell on earth. This is what this is talking about. The Most High God spending his arrows upon us. This is hell on earth. Do you understand? And what is hell on earth? Slavery, inhabiting all the ghettos, slums, impoverished areas, occupying all the prisons like we talked about. The Most High God's arrows are poisonous. And there he's just darting us up. Community by community. And we're stuck up in that Christian church, smiling and laughing with these heathen and celebrating their pagan feast days like New Year's Eve. Meanwhile, in the ISUPK and the Commander General Johanna, we have to watch our people suffer because they can't hear this and they don't want to hearken. Read on.
Verse 25. The sword without and terror within.
The sword without and the terror within. Read that again, Barbara Shah.
The sword without and terror within.
Left homeless like a vagabond. Read on.
Shall destroy both young men and the virgin, the suckling also with the man of grey hairs.
Okay, there you go. Going back to the beginning there. Okay, left homeless like a vagabond with no sword to defend yourself. Read that again from the top, Barbara Shah.
Verse 25. The sword without and terror within shall destroy both young man and the virgin, the suckling also with the man and the man with grey hairs.
Okay, so we're frightened of things, ain't we? We see the police, we bolt, even when we're not doing anything wrong. That's what this verse is talking about here. 9 times out of 10, we're not doing anything wrong, and we still want to bolt from the police. We're frightened, we're scared. The Most High God's turned us into a fearful nation. And it's not the other nations that fear us anymore. Like in the times of King David and King Solomon, we fear these other nations now because every single one of them has got their foot in our necks. Look at the Chinese in Jamaica. Look at Esau in the UK and America. Look at the colonizers around the world. Look at the Windrush. We've got more problems than any other nation, and we've done this to ourselves.
That's right.
And anybody that can resonate with the truth, the first step you will do in the next few days is denounce New Year's Eve and have nothing to do with this pagan celebration. Absolutely nothing to do with it. Okay, we got First Maccabees 3 and 48. Hold
Book
on.
of
So luck here. I'm there.
The book of First Maccabees 3, verse 48. And laid open the book of the law, where
Salakia 3 and 48.
3 and 48.
Yeah, read that again.
And laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathens had sought to paint their likeness of their image.
Wow. Read that again for me, Barbara Shah, loud and clear into the mic. I want everybody to hear this precept.
First Maccabees 3, verse 48. And laid open the book of the law.
And laid open the book of the law. What is the book of the law?
The Bible. Holy Bible.
These are the books of the law. The books of the law are the first 5 books, the records of Moses: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. But make no mistakes about it. The law is reiterated and recorded time and time again throughout all 80 scrolls.
That's right.
And you'll find the 80 scrolls from Genesis to Revelation with the 14 mixing books, the 14 hidden books, which is the Apocrypha right here. This is the law. So the first 5 books of the Bible, Genesis to Deuteronomy, is Moses' records. That's where you'll find the 613 laws. That's where you'll find the law book. But the law is reiterated throughout the 80 scrolls, throughout the 80 books of the Bible. Read that again, Bob Kasha.
First Maccabees 3 verse 48. And laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathens had sought to paint the likeness of their image.
Okay, so the heathen have painted January in our calendar of events. And this is why our records are so important, because without them, we cannot teach you this. We cannot teach you the fundamentals of the Most High God Yahweh and the Israelites, the 12 tribes of Israel. And that is why our records are so important. Without these records, we are nothing. Read that again, Baba Kasha.
Okay. First Maccabees 3 verse 48. And laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathens had sought to paint the likeness of their image.
And they did that. They painted the likeness of their image over our real images. The Most High God, a black man. Hamashiach Yahushai, a black man. The prophets, the cherubims, the angels. The feast of Passover. Okay, the feast of dedication. Where the hell does Christmas come from? This year, the feast of dedication is on the 25th of December. Why all these heathen and the Gentiles amongst our people, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, are stuck up in that church celebrating Christmas on the 25th of December, when they should be in the nearest ISUPK school under the command of General Yana, celebrating the feast of Hanukkah, which is in the Hebrew, or the feast of dedication in the English. And they should have nothing to do with the 1st of January or the 31st of December, which is not in our records and has got nothing to do with the Most High God.
That's right.
There's only so far we can there's only so much we can show you. We can teach you all this Bible. We can teach you all this law, all 613 laws. But ultimately, you're going to have to make that step. You're going to have to make that step into the school, become a young man, become a student, learn this Bible, learn these laws, learn who you are, and go and plant seeds and start fishing. That's what we do here. This is the home of the truth. Make no doubts about it. Isaiah 29 and 16. Drop that. Somebody find me Isaiah 29 and 16. And we'll have a look at the real feast days before we close up. So whoever finds me Isaiah 29 and 16. Mozart, if you find where the feast days are, you'll find them in Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, from verse. We're going to start at verse 1. We're not going to go through all the feast days. I'll just name them, but I do want verse 1. Okay, Isaiah 29 and 16. Salakia, I should have got there already. Salakia, Jermaine. Okay, when you're ready, Jermaine, read that. Get that for me. 29 and 16, Isaiah.
Isaiah 29, verse 16. Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed.
Read that again.
Surely your turning of things upside down.
Surely your turning of things upside down. This is the prophet Isaiah talking about the heathen, talking about the oppressor. Read that again.
Surely your turning of things upside down.
Upside down. And he's talking about the things that we're talking about tonight. New Year's Eve, pagan celebrations, the changing of the images, the faces of the truth. Okay, read that again, Baba Kasha.
Isaiah 29, verse 16. Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay.
This is exactly what the oppressor has done. This is exactly what the oppressor has done. Turn the entire world upside down, on its head.
Most definitely.
Look at us all now, clamming and excited and waiting for New Year's Eve, waiting for that 10-second countdown, waiting for the bright lights and the fireworks.
That's right.
And the grog, the alcohol. Read that again, Bob. Read that again, Bob, because
Isaiah 29, verse 16. Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? Or shall the thing frame saying of him that framed it, he had no understanding? Verse 17.
There you go. It's bad to celebrate Christmas and New Year's, but they have made it look good. You're going to read that again. They've made it look good with their bright lights, with their countdowns, with their vain carol songs, with their explosions in the sky and their fireworks. Something that is so bad, they've turned it upside down and made it look good. And this is what the oppressor does. This is what the heathen does. Nothing's more beautiful than the Passover when we're all in one of the states of America and we're all together, brothers and sisters, in perfect harmony on one accord. Okay? But something that is so wicked that is not in our records, idolatry, and they've made it look so beautiful and so tempting to our people, we could not do anything. We're more or less mesmerized by New Year's Eve. You see that, Mozart? We're more or less mesmerized by their pagan feast days. We've got our own feast days. Why the hell would we want to cross the Most High God, the very entity that's going to save us and give us eternal life? If we keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, if we just remember him and stop turning our face away from him, and stay away from these idols, Janus, New Year's Eve. Read that again, Babakasha.
Isaiah chapter 29, verse 16. Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not?
Salakia, jump down to verse 17. Ain't breaking verse 16 down again.
Verse 17. Is it not yet a very little while, and Lebanon shall be turned into a fruitful field?
Okay, so the Most High is going to turn things back around. Read that again, Baba Kashar. Everything that they've turned upside down, the Most High God is going to come along and fix. How's he going to fix it? Through his son, Hamashiach Yahushai. He's everything that they have turned upside down on its head is going to be returned back on its feet, standing upright, how it's supposed to be. Read that again, Baba Kashar.
Isaiah chapter 29, verse 17. Is it not yet a very little while, and Lebanon shall be turned into a fruitful field?
There you go. Lebanon turned into a fruitful field. This is a rhetorical question. This is a question. You see the question mark? Do you see the question mark? Jermaine, yeah? This is a rhetorical question. It doesn't need an answer. It answers itself. He's going to put everything right. He's going to amend everything that's been messed about with and tampered with. Okay, the fields. Okay, the lands we see now, like the desert or Lebanon, will be the fruitful fields of the future. Read on.
And the fruitful field shall be esteemed as a forest.
There you go. Read on.
Verse 18. And in that day shall the deaf hear the words of the book, and the eyes of the blind shall see out of obscurity and out of darkness.
There you go. In that day, meaning the end times. Does everybody follow this? In that day means the last days. In the end times, yeah? This is what Isaiah is talking about. In the end times, okay? And in them last days, yeah? Those that lacked understanding will understand. They might not be able to be saved or do anything about it, but they will understand. And the blind that couldn't hear the priests and prophets in the ISUPK, in them last days, they're not going to be blind anymore. They're going to be see. But guess what? Your seeing is not going to save you if you keep celebrating this New Year's pagan celebration. It's not going to help you. It's not going to save you. Knowing when it's too late, seeing when it's too late, hearing when it's too late. Do we all follow this? Okay, is there any more on that?
It says in verse 19, the meek also shall increase their joy in the Lord.
Can't read verse 19, Babu Kushar. The meek meaning us. The meek is us. The people that are out there fishing, teaching the truth under the command of General Yahanna, the priests and prophets of the ISUPK. Read that, Babu Kushar.
Isaiah chapter 29, verse 19. The meek also shall increase their joy in the Lord, and the poor among men shall rejoice in the Holy One of Israel. Verse 20.
No. Stop there. We're going to drop it. Let me just break down verse 19. So that meaning all the brothers and sisters in the ISUPK will increase their joy in the Lord and rejoice in Yahweh's name. Why? Why will we rejoice in Yahweh's name? Because we keep his laws, statutes, and commandments. You won't see anybody in the school, in any of the ISUPK schools, celebrating New Year's Eve. Most of us will probably be keeping slavery on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day if we can get paid for it. Because guess what? It's double time.
That's right.
So anybody fortunate to be working on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, we will make the most out of it and make financial gain, but we will not be celebrating New Year's. 31st of December and the 1st of January means absolutely nothing to the brothers and sisters in the ISUPK under the command of General Yahanna. Absolutely nothing, nada. It's just another day. And if we can go to slavery and make double the wage for that day, guess what? We're going to goddamn do it as long as it don't fall on the Sabbath. That's what we're going to do. Leviticus 23.
Okay. The book of Leviticus 23, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, concerning the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocation. Even those are my feast. 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest.
Salakia, that's not verse 1.
Huh?
Just read verse 1 for me.
Okay. Leviticus 23, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying,
Salakia, verse 2. Salakia, my bad.
Okay. Verse 2. Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocation.
The feasts of the Lord are holy convocations. So they're separate. They're separate convocations. What the hell is New Year's Eve? What the hell is New Year's Day? It's not mentioned or recorded as a holy convocation. The feast of the Lords are mentioned right here in the 23rd chapter of Leviticus from verse 3, where it goes on to talk about the Sabbath, then the Passover, then unleavened bread, then the Feast of First Fruits, the Day of Atonement, okay? The Feast of Tabernacles and the Memorial of Blowing Trumpets, their law, that's the law. 7 feast days that we must keep by law. The 12 tribes of Israel, so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, indigenous people. Okay, these are the law. We shouldn't be in the church celebrating Christmas or New Year's Eve. That's not the law. That's not going to save your souls. That's not going to give you eternal life. These feast days are. And that's why we have these records. We have 9 feast days. 7 of them are law. The 7 I just mentioned. They are holy convocations. They're separate to everything else. Okay? And we have 2 feast days, one coming up, Hanukkah, and then the Feast of Purim, and the Feast of Purim is in the 12th month, February, the last month of the year on the Hebrew calendar. These feast days are memorials. They're not recorded by Moses as law, but it's lawful to keep them, but you don't have to keep them by law, which means you cannot be punished for not keeping the 2. The 2 at the end of the year, the Feast of Dedication and the Feast of Purim. But the other 7 that I just mentioned are law. By law, we must be keeping them. And if you're not keeping them and you prefer New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, guess what? You're going to face a judgment. You are going to be punished. Read that again, Baba Kasha.
Isaiah or Leviticus.
Leviticus. Where are we? What are we reading?
Verse 2.
Salakia.
Leviticus 23, verse 2. The book of Leviticus 23, verse 2. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, say unto them concerning the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocation. Even these are my feast.
Even these are my feasts. They are holy convocations. And anything given to us by the Most High God that is holy is separate. Holy means separate. That means it's special to God. He separated us from the 17 other nations because we were special. So if we were special, what do you think these feast days are?
Special.
They're special. You got something, Jimmy?
What you meant the worldly feast? Sorry.
No, they're pagan. The worldly, like New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Then there's no records of them. And we've just gone through at the beginning of the class, we went through the history of New Year's. And that comes from Janus and the Romans turning everything upside down. Okay? Changing the first month of the year from April to January, which makes absolutely no sense because everything is in hibernation in the middle of the winter. On the 1st of January, there's no greenery, there's no vegetation, there's no leaves on the trees.
That's right.
You got something, Jermaine?
I was gonna say, could we call them strange feasts or not?
They're just wicked ass feasts. They're just pagan and they're wicked as hell. Okay.
They're strange to us here because that's what our custom.
Any questions in class? Any questions in the stream?
No. No questions.
No questions? Okay, yeah,
They're
just to
burning
finish.
fires.
Huh?
They're just burning fires.
Burning fires.
Emoji fire.
So we'll finish with Psalms. Get Psalms 2 and 1, Baba Kashar. This will be the last precept. We're going to finish up. We've got 3 minutes. Anybody just read Psalms 2 and 1. 2 and 1 for me. There's a couple of verses here.
The book of Psalms 2, verse 1. Why do the heathen rage?
Why do the heathen rage? Read.
And the people imagine vain things.
And the people imagine vain things. New Year's Day, Christmas. Read.
Verse 2. The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together.
Okay, so the kings of the earth. Who's King David talking about here? These are the records of King David. Who is King David talking about when he says the kings of the earth?
He's talking about the Gentiles?
No, the Gentiles is in the church, the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. This is talking about heathen. This is talking about the kings of the earth. We're not heathen. We're Israelites. Even the ones of us that don't believe and are stuck up in the church. They're Gentiles. They're non-believers that would rather celebrate New Year's Eve than the Passover, than the Feast of Dedication. They're stabbing me and you in the back, Moses.
That's right.
They're turning their backs on the one true God, the God of Israel. You got something, Jermaine?
Yeah, the kings and rulers of the other nations.
The king, who King David's talking about here, the kings of the earth, is NATO, Britain, America. That's who the kings of the earth are today. Read on.
Okay. The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord, against his anointed, saying, let us break their band asunder and cast away their cords from us.
Do you hear this? So we know from our records the heathen envy the Lord and his people and break their bands and cast away the cords because they want their own idols and their own vain traditions to be followed by the world.
That's
Can,
right.
can we see this?
Clearly, yeah.
Read that again and read it through, Bob Kushar.
Okay. The book of Psalms 2 verse 1. Why do the heathen range and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord, against his anointed, saying, let us break their band asunder and cast away their cords from us.
Salakia, what verse is that?
Verse 3, we're going to do verse 4.
No, read verse 3 again.
Okay.
Let us break their bands.
Verse 3, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us.
Okay, so they want to break our bands and cast away their cords from us. That's through jealousy and envy. And they want to be seen as God. That's why they've gave us these idols, Janus and New Year's Eve. They want to be seen as God. And they want us to follow their worldly traditions, their vain and profane traditions, which is New Year's Eve and Christmas. But we're talking about New Year's Eve tonight. Read that last verse, verse 4.
Verse 4.
Verse 4, Baba Kushar.
He that sitteth in the heavens.
He that what?
He that sitteth in the heavens.
He that what?
Sitteth in the heavens.
Read.
Shall laugh. The Lord shall have them in derision.
The Most High watches and laughs because he will have the final say and the last laugh, not the goddamn heathen. These kings of the earth that King David are talking about are nothing. They're nothing but spittle to the Most High God. The real God, the true God of Israel, that's given us the real feast days through the prophet Moses. Who the hell are they to challenge our God? Read that verse 4 again, Bob.
Verse 4. He that sitteth in the heavens.
He that sitteth in the heavens, the one true God of Israel, the Most High God, Yahweh,
shall laugh. The Lord shall have them in derision.
He shall have the last laugh, not the heathen. And when you see them UFOs pop up in the sky, they're going to be mesmerized and amazed. Guess what? We're not. We're going to be thankful we never celebrated New Year's Eve. And we're going to be grateful that the Most High God chose us and gave us this truth and woke us up. And with that, I'm going to call the class. Clap it up. I'm going to hand the class over to Priest and Officer Mozart for the security announcements.
This is a security announcement for the ISUPK. Security announcement. We are the ISUPK, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rules for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are not to be saluted. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if any brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 months period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18 verse 21, Malachi 3, 8 to 10. Meaning tithes in the Hebrew, Mahishara, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not monetary. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming Holy Convocation.
The Feast of Dedication, the 25th of December. In the Hebrew, the Feast of Hanukkah.
Announce Holy Convocation from sheet. Remind Akim and Akiawat to check the bulletin board in the hallway. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black, boots, shirt, pants, headband, scarf. And with that, we hand the class over to.
You're gonna give Officer Ariala one courtesy salute.
That we give Officer Ariala one courtesy salute. Amadiam Shabbat, Amadiam Barak, Yahweh Shemia Shai Baraktam, and with that,
You were. Say it again. Say it again.
Barak, Yahweh Shemia Shai Baraktam,
Yehovah Hashem Yahushai Barakatam.
Yazamata, class.
Good job. Good job, officer. You end the stream. Thawada to all the brothers and sisters. Yehovah Hashem Yahushai Barakatam to the brothers. Why Hoshemai Ladam Bahashim Yahushai to the sisters. Have a great dedication. Have a great feast of Hanukkah. Shalom, Lord in Christ.